Thank you for checking out our YouTube channel, and don't forget to subscribe and like. And please visit us at barrykibrick.com, where you'll see all the ways that you can become a patron of our mission and help us continue to build a community of seekers who quest for knowledge, information, and most importantly, wisdom.
Today on Between the Lines, a man who began his career during the formative years of rock and roll and whose influence continues to this day, Gary U.S. Bonds. Welcome, I'm Barry Kibrick. Gary U.S. Bonds has been rocking for more than 50 years. From his beginning days touring with Sam Cooke and B.B. King to his close working relationship with Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band, Gary has entertained millions around the world with his music. Now with his autobiography, By U.S. Bonds, co-written with Stephen Cooper, we get an inside look at the music and the man.
I'm a writer today because I was a reader when I was 11 years old, and it was...
You do not need to prove your state of happiness to anybody.
Most of these speeches were as much as a month in preparation.
Characters, the heroes in this book, are seekers of truth in a story that involves a lot of
I
corruption.
don't get a chance to really talk about what's real, and it's the purpose for me.
Gary, what a pleasure to have you on the set here of Between the Lines. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's my pleasure being here. It really is, Barry.
Well, listen, I'm going to start with your words. There's no ponder in rock and roll. It's a profession for the big, the bold, and the peculiar, because rock and roll thrives at the extremes. And Gary, in this book, you've been on the extremes in all forms and fashion.
I've been on the front of the train and the back of the train. I run the hallways. I'm getting there, one way or the other.
But yet, you say the whole purpose at first, and you said this goes back from Caruso to Dylan, is because you wanted to get the girls.
Oh yeah, of course. That's and up until I got married, that was my most basic interest. Get the girls, and back in the day, it was get the girls and get a Cadillac. So I did that. Well, at least a Cadillac.
Now, when you started, you were, like you said, you were thinking more just in the terms of that. Basically, it was that simple. And then Sam Cooke tells you something, and he says, Gary, do something Bonds. And that seemed like that was the turning point when you realized you had to really do this more for than just the girls and the Cadillac.
Yeah, I mean, I was so intimidated. I wasn't afraid to go on stage. It's just when I got there, I didn't know what to do, So I wouldn't talk. I just sang the songs, and the girls would swoon. But Sam wanted me to do more than that, He said, no, you got to move. You got to, engage the audience, talk to them, make them like you, And I tried to do that, but it never worked out, until one day when I got off the stage. It was about the fifth time he had told me. I walked off the stage, and the side of the stage, he's standing there, and I'm smiling as I come off, and he slaps me upside my head, like, bam. I go, okay, I think I got it now. I understand. I haven't shut up since. I've been talking ever since.
Well, that, and it does. It endears you more with that audience, doesn't it? In fact, in the book, you even notice how you pick out sometimes an individual in the crowd, and you basically are talking to that one person.
Exactly. You take that song, whatever that song is, and you put it right on that person, and it works for everybody.
Now, a DJ that I am familiar with before this, Norm Knight, used to be an old big New York DJ.
Oh, yeah.
He wrote this about you. As a performer, he said, it's all about the stuff you learn after you think you know it all. And you followed that up by saying, I have yet to stop learning.
Oh yeah, you got to keep learning. I've only been doing this now for 50 years, so I still got another 50 to learn stuff, and working on it. I'm learning something from you today.
Oh, tell me what it is so I make sure I don't forget.
I'm looking at you, and you're so interesting to look at. You're a good-looking guy. You know that, Barry?
Are we going to have a bromance, Gary? I love
think
this.
so.
Well, in fact, we can't, because you know what we both have in common, and I wrote this down, is the most loving wives. You've been together with yours now for over 50 years.
Yeah.
Big Mama, you
Big
call
Mama,
her.
yes.
And Little Mama is your daughter.
The daughter.
And then you met my son and my mama.
That's right.
My Big Mama. And we both run our lives with our families.
Exactly.
And and after reading your book too, I got that same sense that I get. There's nothing better than that. There is this empowerment that they imbibe you with that you can't get anywhere else.
No, you can't get it, and it's my inspiration, you know. And that's my first thing that I wake up and think about in the morning is my family. Make sure they're okay, you know. And then I think about music, you know. But they always come first. And 50 years is a long time, but I've enjoyed every minute of it.
Well, you know why? Because you see how much they give you when it comes to that support. Like you said, you were on that back of the train, the front of the train, by the way, and not just like you were in the back and then went to the front. You went to the back, to the front, to the back, to the front, to the back, to the front.
Got to make sure everything's okay.
But having a wife and a daughter who is understanding and by your side, that makes that walk through that train a lot easier.
Oh, a lot easier. You can see everything clearly, you know. You have nothing to worry about because, you know, they got you back. Yeah. They got you back, you know.
Now, there's another lady in your life, and besides there's others in the sense of your mama and your grandma as well, but the other lady I want to talk about is Norfolk. The town, the city, Norfolk, because that played a major role. I didn't even realize, by the way, how many artists came from Norfolk, that you even have a term, the Norfolk sound.
Yeah.
But it was your attachment to that area and the friends, and that as well has lasted over 50 years.
You know, it's amazing that I didn't realize it either until, you know, actually in the business, but nobody wanted to claim Norfolk as the people that came from there. They didn't really, I think Ruth Brown was the only one that said, used to say on TV, in other words, you know, Portsmouth was her hometown, you know, and wow. So I said I'd never let that down. I don't care about, I love New York, you know, I love being there, but Norfolk's still my hometown. And people ask me where I'm from, I don't say New York, I say I live in New York, but my hometown is Norfolk, you know.
And you know, the friends you've made there are still your friends.
I'm still my friends.
I'm the same way too. I have, my best friend is still my first friend from the first place I grew up. You know, it's just that simple.
And I'll be down there next week. I got to go to some weddings. Unfortunately, I go to funerals a lot now too. But at least now I got a wedding to go to. That's pretty exciting.
Well, you know, and part of that is what you said is your priorities. Maybe my priorities are not the best ones for an entertainer, but they're the best ones for me.
For me, yeah. And all of my friends down there, but I call them my drinking buddies, and they get a little older, but the stories get better every year, I swear. And the girls that we used to date back in it get much prettier every year. I don't know how that works, but, you know, and there was a couple of dogs out there.
You're terrible.
But we won't get into that.
Now, at first, when you're a young man in the business, and in fact, unfortunately, I hear of this too many times on my show, the advantage that's taken advantage of you. And you're very, very diplomatic because, you know, like, for instance, your manager, Frank Guido, took a lot of stuff from you that belonged to you. And yet at the same time, you show still an appreciation because you know that whatever the bad was, without it, you still wouldn't have had the good. That balance is amazing that you're able to keep it without seeming to have regret, anger, or any of those things.
No, you can't have anger about it, and you can't hold on to it. If you do that, it blinds you for other things that you want in life, you know. And if it wasn't for Frank Guido, I wouldn't be in the business, you know. He made me, you know. And regardless of what happened afterwards, he actually got me on record and gave me the first hit, you know. I also thank Dick Clark for that because he was the only one that played it, you know. When New Orleans came out, all of the DJs across the country would not play it. They said it had an inferior sound. Yeah, we don't want to put this on. And then when Dick Clark picked it up, when we went to Philadelphia to see him, he put it in, you know, put it on American Bandstand. And then all of a sudden, the sound became clearer to all the other DJs in the country, and they started playing it. So Frank Reeder gave me the opportunity, and Dick Clark made it happen.
And was loyal for quite some time. I'm going to get into that for a second, but I think the funny thing is that, you know, you use this, that you believed a hit single could last you about 20 years, and you found out it never does it?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But you can hold on to that hope. That's all I can do, and I keep doing that well.
Well, and you know something, the sound, as I intimated what I was going to share with you on the show that was not from the book, and that was I spoke to my dad on Tuesday, and I said, I'm having Gary U.S. Bonds on the show. And he said, why do I know that name? And my dad always was just listening to Latin music and twist. That was the time in the late 50s, early 60s. And I just simply hummed it a little bit. I went, twist, 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 senor. It was Gary Bonds, twisted up. So people remember this, and some, Benny King told you, no, I think it was Benny King from Stand By Me, is that who it was, who said, let them just keep loving those songs and you just keep singing them. And that you have that belief as well.
Yeah, we were talking about that last night too at dinner, that a lot of these artists that come out and get a hit record, and then a year later, they don't want to sing it like it was on the radio. They change it around, you know. I don't get why would you want to change it? You know, people bought it like this. Don't make a Latin song out of it, you know, and think they're going to understand it and like it, you know, because it doesn't work.
You know, I want to just give an example, though, of that back in front of the train, because I think it's important. A lot of times when people think you have ups and downs, it means you went from being a millionaire to a couple of $100,000-aire. Yeah. But you literally went from having a hit single in this country to becoming a street scavenger, picking up cans and bottles for deposits.
Did that a lot. I was living in Portsmouth, and we just had Little Mama, my daughter, and it was really, they'd given me this brand new Cadillac. I'm riding around in a convertible Cadillac, brand new. Didn't have a dime in my pocket, you know, so I used to go out on the highway and pick up cans and bottles and put them in the back of the Cadillac.
I just want a picture of that. That would be a YouTube sensation now if we had it.
And you go to the supermarket, you know, and you get your deposit for the bottles and cans, and then I buy food for my wife and kid, you know. So it was rough, but nobody knew it, you know.
And you know, and your wife, though, I'm going to use her exact words. Gary, I believe in your talent, but it is more important that I believe in you. I know you will figure this all out.
Yeah. It's rough, but you figure it out, you know. I can do that.
But yet you said, you were very candid. You said you still felt defeated, and I can't imagine how you wouldn't be. I mean, here you're driving around in a Cadillac picking up cans. You can't help it, no matter what that. You still have to believe it within yourself somehow.
Oh yeah, you got to do that, you know. Yeah, and I to this day, you know, I feel like I got to go out and get cans and bottles now.
Well, you know, it's funny because this is the thing, that at 22 you're a megastar, and what was interesting, by 30 they were already trying to book you in these nostalgia acts, and you said, I'm 30 years old and I'm already a nostalgia act.
An oldie but a goodie.
But you're not old. That's what makes it a very unusual situation.
Yeah, it's really amazing. But it happened so quickly, you know. It's good, though. And maybe it's good that it happens that way, because you can get it out of the way if you want to, you know, instead of having it linger when you're 50, 60, 70.
That's a very, very wise. That is the nice thing that happens when you hit those 70s.
Yeah,
you get that wisdom, you know.
You don't need that weight.
I said before loyalty, and I really want to hit on that strong because in the book, you know how great of a trait it is for you, and you're a very loyal person, and you appreciate the loyalty that people have given you.
Yeah.
And yet you also know there's the, as they say, the yin and the yang to that. There's the flip side to that loyalty is you sometimes trusted the wrong people and couldn't tell the difference that easily at first.
Well, I don't think it was that. And a lot of things that happened to me, my loyalty is too good because I will stick with you until the end. Unfortunately, it's always my end. So
well, that's kind of what I was intimating as the negative side of it.
But
you know?
everybody that I was with, you know, for some reason they turned. In the beginning, everybody was perfect, and we got along great. You know, we understood each other. And then later in life, I guess I don't know what happened. Just people's minds they can't stick with it. You know. One of my managers at one time is just we were best of friends, and then all of a sudden we weren't friends anymore, and I don't know, I still don't know why.
Well, you know, though, there is one gentleman that came along and literally in 30 years from your first hit, you become again quite big because of a gentleman named Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
And as a Jersey boy, I know the boss, I love the boss as much as anyone can. And he literally said that without Gary, maybe we wouldn't be here. You didn't even realize how much he was influenced by you, except that he would, until I think, was it when you heard him do 2:45 in one of his own acts, which was the song that you wrote. And then you become a true bond that still exists today.
Yeah. Well, I still got Bruce.
Yeah.
No, he came to me with when we first met. It was in a club in Jersey. I think it was Hazlitt, New Jersey, and
off of 35.
I think it was. Yeah,
it is. I know
with the airplane on top there and all that. Yeah, wow. And him and a couple of friends came in, and one of them came up to the stage and said, "I got a friend of mine out here. He wants to sing a couple of songs with you." And I went, "Sure, but let's bring him on up here. You know, I can get a chance to go to the bar and get a beer, you know." And I didn't know who he was. And he told me his name. I said, "All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got a young man out here who wants to sing a song with us, you know. And let's bring him up and make him feel real welcome here. And how about it for Bruce Springsteen?" And the crowd went wild, you know. And I mean, they were like, "Oh my God, who is this guy? What happened here?" And we became friends that night. I finally figured out who he was. And then we went to, I think it's some arena. I had to meet up with him. He wanted me to come join him, you know. And I'm trying to think of where there. I think I was in New York, you know. And I went to join him, and he was doing 2:45 in his show. And I was cool because I never heard anybody sing 2:45, ever. He's the only one. I don't know whether it was just the song was just too bad or did it sound right or whatever it was, but he's the only one that sang it. It was a thrill to see people dancing and jumping up and down to it, you know. Well, wow, yeah, I did that.
and then he returns the favor. He invites you up.
Yeah.
And you guys, I mean, it almost, in fact, I don't know if it's a joke or not, but as you begin now touring, after this relationship, as you're touring, everyone's assuming Bruce is going to show up to one of your events and you'll be back in the house.
Everyone. You know, every time I get to the place, they go, "Where's Bruce?" "Who?" "I don't know what you're talking about." And they pack him in there until they realize after about the second year, he ain't coming. But then again, he did show up at 2 or 3 of the events, you know. So that just kept the fire burning, you know. But it was cool.
It's great to have. And then what happens is he's writing songs for you as well. So you really do get a very different second career at a very different stage in life.
Yeah, it was great. It was really great, yeah. In fact, this little girl he wrote at my house, you know. So we had home one day, and my wife, she hates that piano. You know, it's just a regular upright. But I want a fireplace there. We're going to get rid of the piano. You can't do that. You know, Bruce wrote this little girl on this piano. Thing's worth a fortune. So I wouldn't let her get rid of it. You know, I still got that piano. Yeah, it's going to look a little moldy, but it'll be cool.
You know what, Gary, I'm going to give out your website because I know people are going to want to find interesting things about you that are in the book.
What about the piano?
Yeah, well, that's what sparked it right there. Maybe there'll be a few offers on the table, all right? It's real simple, guys. It's www.garyusbonds.com.
Yeah.
And you'll correspond with a few people that
Of course
come
I
here.
will.
Good, good. The chapter that caught my attention was this. Perpetuity is a very long time. Now, I know that has so much to do with the value of those songs that if you have them and now whatever you do, your team, your big mama and little mama and your group, they know how important that is. And you've become aware, but that was just the one chapter, that was the line. And it's funny because it's obviously forever, and that feels different when it's yours forever, doesn't it?
It does. That one word, perpetuity, I didn't know what that meant in the beginning. I had no clue as to what that meant. And I saw it on a contract that I had. And I would, can I get out of this contract? He goes, no, that contract's in perpetuity. It's forever. I hate that word.
Although now it's good.
Yeah, now it's good, but not when those contracts come through.
You know, we talk about loyalty. You brought in a specific gentleman, Mark Lembeck, is that how you pronounce it? Lineback.
Yeah.
And all your current band members, there seems that if there's a trait now that imbibes what you're looking for, it is not only the loyalty that you have, but now the loyalty that people should give in return.
Yeah, it's amazing but most of the guys in the band have been with me for many, many years. Joey Stan, the sax player, has been with me since 1981, and Mark has been with me since 1982 or 83, I believe it was. And the rest of the guys have been there around the early 80s, and they're still with me. I can't get rid of those guys. They won't leave.
But you joke, though, you say, touring, at 37 is a lot different than touring at 73.
You bet. You bet. You can ask me and Benny. We just got back from England. Boy, that was rough. It was so much easier back in 1961.
And yet you'd think travel would be easier now, but age does have a difference.
You can't stay on that bus. You got to get off that bus.
70 was a big milestone for you, but you said these words. You felt you had much more to look forward to than you had to look back on.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you gotta look forward. I mean, just doing things. I enjoy singing now. It's not a job. I love it. I love just getting out there and hoping I please the crowd. Like I always say, I'll yell and scream at you if you yell and scream back. And we'll have a good time. We'll party all night.
Well, you say it point blank, how blessed you feel because you have that form of a relationship with the people that enjoy what you do.
Yeah.
It's hard to beat that, isn't it?
It is. It is, and to know that they appreciate you that much, that's really great.
Now, one more last thing with Bruce, because it was Sandy Hook, which just recently, Hurricane Sandy, Hurricane Sandy. And on the Jersey Shore, you guys and also Steve Van Zandt and Bon Jovi, all of you guys got together and really were the first people with almost days to put on an event to literally help this salvaged, literally the shore, basically, the Jersey Shore.
It was great. Well, every year it's me, Bon Jovi, Bruce, Bobby Bandiera, and Southside Johnny, and a lot of the characters there in Jersey. We get together every Christmas, and we do about 4 shows for the kids at Christmas. So we kind of know each other really good, just on that one December period,
Our time is up, and so I have to end it, but I want to make sure, I'm going to try to sneak in a little bit from your newest song. That's my story, because it's kind of neat, but I'm going to end with this, Gar. If my voice ever lifted spirits or started a party, that is all I have ever wanted. I just wanted to sing, and I want to thank you, Gary, for over 50 years lifting the spirits of so many.
Thank you, Barry. And I'm here to lift all the spirits in the world.
And you're doing a good job, Gary. And thank you for joining us. Now, before Gary leaves, I'd like to leave you with these few more words from Buy U.S. Bonds. I knew I was selling records, but what mattered to me was what I did in front of an audience. And the size of the audience did not matter. I wanted to send people home happy, take them away from their cares for an hour or so, and let everyone have a slice of the pie. I'm Barry Kibrick. Between our everyday woes lies the music of our lives. Eat it up and enjoy that slice of the pie. Thank you so much, Gar.
My pleasure, sir. Thank you.